So welcome back. You're gonna have to excuse me in this one. I'm sick, but I wanted to make this video for you. In this one, we're gonna be focusing on shiny object syndrome and why this is keeping you or preventing you from actually turning your dropshipping store into a real full-fledged brand that can get consistent sales. So one of the most common problems people come to me with is that they can't get consistency into whether they're dropshipping or a brand. It doesn't matter, but they can't find consistency. So I'm gonna show you what happened with my business in this beautiful whiteboard here and explain to you what I actually did to get consistent results, why I'm able to sell the same product or variations of the product for over 3 years now. And at the end of the year, we'll be at a lifetime revenue of, I think we'll be over 10 million, just over 10 million or maybe 11 or 12 million. Either way, this year alone, we're on set to do over 7.5, 8 million this year, right? The growth this year has been crazy, and it's because of what I'm going to show you. So first, let me draw this out. Take a look at this first. So essentially, this is like my Shopify analytics chart, right? Growth was like this. I launched the brand. It took off right away. Sales dropped massively. It kind of came up a bit, dropped massively. It was stuck here for a while, went up again and went down again. And then since then has kind of been consistently going up. So this is the worst chart you've ever seen, but it'll have to do, right? So let me just move this down here. This is what it looked like. Now, I launched this store drop shipping, just so you know, but it really doesn't make a difference, okay? Because the important part is, well, why did the sales drop massively? So why here, and I was stuck here. This was a good 6-month period here. It went up again, and why did it drop here, right? So the first thing you have to know, I didn't know what I was doing. And like most quote-unquote drop shippers, you're in this dropshipping mindset that it's a winning product. You scale the winning product dies, and you have to go find another product. When in reality, this is keeping you stuck. It's keeping you very stuck. And so what happened was I found a product, right? I'll highlight this here. Oh, there's no green. We'll go blue. I found a product. I launched it. And this here, when we got to the point here, this part from here to here was probably about just over 500,000 in sales, right? And then it tanked. Right? It just tanked. We went from 200 grand a month to 25, right? And we were struggling to do 1,000 a day. And the reason was, what I thought was that the product died. I thought, okay, it's just an ad problem. We just need to find more winning ads, but we could not find any more winning ads. But the issue was, right? I'm going to highlight this as well because it's very important, is that I was testing the same concepts, this is another word for angle, over and over and over again, right? So it was kind of just a cycle between these two. And this is because I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't know direct response marketing. I didn't know how to market. I didn't know creative strategy, how to come up with new ideas. And so I found one angle. So let's say it's a dog product. And I was testing anxiety, like a dog bed. And this is anti-anxiety dog bed. And it worked, right? It scaled us to the 500,000 in revenue. And so I just kept testing more and more ads about the same thing, new hooks, new B-roll, new CTAs, but all around the same concept, right? And that kept me stuck. So what you have to understand is you need new winning ads under different concepts that target different personas and different stages of awareness in the funnel to really scale, because that's actually how you actually scale volume. So if this here is your pool, there you go. This is your pool of audience they're targeting on Facebook, and this is that anxiety angle, right? Well, you're not covering, right? You're not covering all of this. This is empty. You're missing all these customers. And I'm making ads and more ads and more ads and more ads, right? But I'm not getting anywhere because I'm just staying and finding the people in this circle, right? And that's the issue. So when I actually focused on learning direct response marketing, how to actually market, and I found new winning ads under different angles, I was able to capture this part and then this part and then maybe a big winner here and then a small winner here and a small winner here, right? And that right there is what scaled me back up. Right? So that was the first issue. So first is, I'll get into this later. There's not really such thing as a winning product, quote unquote. I don't believe in that. But this is what happened. I scaled up, it dropped. I realized I was just testing, doing everything myself. So I hired editors so I could test more new concepts, get actually new content versus reusing the same content over and over again. And then that led to this part here, right? This part right there. So I scaled back up. Obviously, it wasn't as much as it was. I went up back up a bit, and then it went right back down. And the issue was, I'll make note to this, right? The issue was, for this one here, is that there was no consistency in testing. So the issue was I now knew that I had to find more winning ads under different angles to scale volume and capture different people, right? Because here I had like 10 winning ads, but all under one angle, right? So I wasn't capturing anybody new or reaching new eyeballs. The issue was I found a couple, but I had no system or process in place to do that consistently every single week. I'd go on vacation, right? I wouldn't be working as hard, and then the sales dropped. Or once again, I didn't have the capacity to edit that much myself, so I could only do 2 or 3 tests a week. But when I got consistency in the testing, right, that was the next big spike. Now, without going too much into it, because this would be a completely different video, that took us from here all the way up to here, right? That brought us from probably, right, we dropped back down to probably about 50K a month, which would be kind of this area here, right? All the way up to probably around 350K a month, right? So if this high here was about 150 to 200K a month, this was about 300 to 350, right? And that needed me to learn how to build an actual business. So it took me from doing everything myself to hiring video editors, to hiring a creative strategist or creative director, whatever you want to call it, to come in and help with scripting briefs, managing content, getting content, talking to creators, and actually just testing consistently. So I'll tell you right now that if you have a decent product that's been selling, it's not selling as well, or it already is selling, and you're at 6-figure months, or you're almost at 6-figure months, let's say you're at 100K a month or 50K a month, and you want to get to 300, 400, 500K a month, all you have to do is 3 times the amount you're testing. Just 3x it without the quality dropping. That's the very, very important part. You can't just instantly tomorrow go from 3 tests a week to 10 and the quality drops because you're not going to find the winning ads there, right? You're just going to be burning money. So you need to make sure the quality doesn't drop when you do this. The easiest way will be to go hire a creative strategist, creative director, and train them. Now, if you want to do it cheaper, you find a junior, someone who doesn't have that much experience, and you train them yourself. It takes longer. There's a higher chance that they leave after all the time you invest into them, but it's fine. You need it anyways. If you have more money or more cash flow available, just go hire somebody with experience. What I did is I went and poached somebody from an agency. So he worked at an agency with like six or 7 years experience, I think. I think he came in with 6 years. Working at an agency, creating UGC content, and I poached him. I gave him a good offer, come work at my company, and he came. And that resulted in this, okay? But the issue was, it helped to scale a lot. We growed a lot. Maybe at this point, we were at 1.5 total sales, lifetime sales for this brand. Now, I'm just throwing out numbers here, but this is a rough estimate. The issue was, well, what happened here? Right down, right back down. Although the good news is, right, I had some systems in place. So the baseline, right, from here to here was slightly higher. Let's say we dropped to whatever, 50K a month. Now we dropped to 75 or 100K a month. So that's good. As you improve the business and you put systems in place, that baseline gets higher. It also gets higher because you have more customers that have come in. And because of that, you have more returning customers. And the more returning customers you get, it means you don't have to rely as much on the front end. And so your revenue floor grows, right? Which is why, whether you drop ship or have a brand, whatever you want to call it, same shit, just different moves, models of fulfilling, you need returning customers. The biggest brands I know have 40% plus returning customer rate because that means you don't have to rely as much on the front end. Your sales become way more consistent, but even that's a topic for a different story. So in this case here, what happened right here? So we dropped back down again, which was obviously not great. I made a lot of new hires. Our payroll was a lot higher, and now we didn't have revenue coming in to support it. Well, the issue was, and this is where I get into the winning product myth, if you will. Let me scroll down here. Winning product, beautiful handwriting, I know, myth. So, is there such thing as a winning product? Yes and no. There's good products. Now, what you have to understand is getting sales on Facebook and scaling your business is so much easier if you have a good product that looks and feels new to the market, right? And this is why, do products die? Not really, but it's more so that more competitors come in and you don't have a moat, right? You need to build a moat to be able to sell the same product for longer. And that doesn't mean you can sell it forever. It means you have to innovate on the product and continue to improve it to keep it looking and feeling new to the market, right? While still solving that core problem that your product solves and doing a good job at it. And then your marketing will become easier and easier and easier. So what happened was, let me use a different color here. Let's use gray. This entire period here, right? This entire period, we were selling one product, right? We were selling one product, and I put the systems in place. We were testing, great. I improved it, but we were selling one product. Now, the big change happened when sales dropped again, and I had the system in place for consistent testing, and we still weren't able to scale. And so at this point, I thought, okay, well, it can't be the ads anymore. Well, what is it? And I did not want to test a new product. I was so stuck in the dropshipping mindset where it was like, hey, maybe we have to go spam test products again, or maybe we have to keep focusing on the ads. And my CEO and my company said, well, let's just try making a new version of the product. And I finally, we could not figure it out. We were here for a couple months, stuck here for a couple months. And I was like, you know what, whatever, let's try it. I should have listened to him a lot earlier. And all we did was change the color of the product. That's literally it. We could have made more improvements. We literally just changed the color of the product. You need to get that in your head. That's it. We got new content, put it in the ads, and sales have been growing since, right? And so why does this happen? Well, think about it. If the product you sell is, we'll call it a 1.0. This is what you sell, right? And then your competitor though, so this is you, and this is your competitor, whoever they are, or probably multiple of them, right? You're selling this original product that you found drop shipping or testing, right? This competitor comes out. They launched that too, but now they have a 2.0 version, they have a 3.0 version, they have a 4.0 version, and you're still selling the 1.0. This is like you here trying to sell the iPhone 4 when the iPhone 16 is coming out. No one's buying the iPhone 4, even though it's essentially the same product with little changes, right? This is a basic example to try and get you to understand it. And so all we did was we launched a 2.0 that looked and made it feel new. It wasn't even as good as the competitor's 4.0, but looked and feel new, got new content, and all of a sudden, we grew. And this was a big lesson that you have to realize, like with any company in the world, you need to innovate or you will not survive. You need to innovate, right? If you keep selling that same product, forever, you're going to innovate. Now, how long you're able to sell it for depends on your moat. So a moat is literally what the name entails, right? You have a castle with a moat around it. They had a moat there to stop the intruders from getting in, to make it more difficult to get in. This is what you're doing with your product and your brand. So there's a few things you can do to improve your moat, right? Which is, you could build a brand, right? You can have, your own custom products. And with that usually comes, right, trademarks, things like that. Trademarks, intellectual property. You could have agreements with your manufacturers or suppliers to only sell to you. All these things make it more difficult for competitors to come in. So the reason why here it has continued and not slowed down, going from here to here, is one, right? We have the systems in place to consistently test. And then two, instead of just finding another random product, we improved on our product. We changed the color. It looks and feels new. And then we also had a moat. We have agreements with the manufacturer that they will only sell to us if we order X amount per month or per week, whatever it is, right? So we now have an agreement in place where they will only sell to us. So the competitors can now not come in. They could sell similar versions, but they do not sell our same exact version, which is why we've been able to sell the same one for a long time, much longer than we were able to sell this one here when we were in this phase, right? Now, that does not mean we're going to be able to sell, this one here forever. Absolutely not. But I learned it the hard way now, that do not wait until it quote unquote dies, right? It still doesn't die. This product here that we launched, we're still doing over 100,000 to 200,000 a month with, right? Like, it still brings good money. It just wasn't going to scale the business. So we then had to launch the 2.0, which has now scaled the business consistently, right? Now, the thing is, what we want to do is not wait until the sales, go from where they are now and take a fat dump, straight down, right? And go back to square one. I learned my lesson. And what you have to do now is innovate before the product dies off. That's it. So that you have a product, it's working, you should already be innovating, which is also why the best brands in the world, Apple, Samsung, name any brand you want, they're always innovating and launching new products. And that's because the better your product is, the more it looks and feels new and obviously still solves the problem, does a good job at it, it's still a really good product, it gets great reviews, the easier it is to market. So the crazy thing I want you guys to realize is, once again, we had the consistent creative testing when we were here still, but sales still dropped. But then we got a better vehicle, that being the product, And since then, it's taken off, right? So without the ads or quality of our ads, like our ads didn't become much better. It's the same quality of ads, same amount of testing, but we have a new improved product. And so sales have taken off and become consistent. And if you want this to consistently keep growing, well, then you have to keep adding new products, right? And that's the biggest lesson I learned. And it's difficult when you get to this part, because if you come from the dropshipping world, you're really stuck in this old mindset of like, you find a product, you scale it, dies. Find a product, scale, die. Find a product, scale, die. But you're missing the two most important parts, which will actually get you consistency, and actually build you a brand that has actual value that you can exit, and you don't have to be stressing about. Like, I hate product research. I hate it when I was trying to do dropshipping. I do not want to be going back to square one every 6 months, right? No, this is way better. I have consistent income for myself personally and for the business, and it's a whole lot better. So what you're missing in this whole dropshipping mindset is the consistent testing. You have no consistency. And even if you are testing consistency, remember I said before, you're probably testing the same concept over and over again, or maybe your ads just suck. So increase the testing massively. Make sure the quality is there. 80% of your testing should be new concepts, new angles. 20% should be iterations. And once you have 2-3 winning ads of one kind of angle or variation, move on to the next. A fourth or fifth isn't going to do too much for you, okay? The last thing I want to go over, if I remember here, is launching products that's being consistent, the winning product myth. How do you actually iterate on the product, right? How do you actually iterate on the product? So there's a book called The Tipping Point, and there's a book called Ready, Fire, Aim. So read both of these because they both talk about a similar concept. Now, the point is, the tipping point is that things progressively get better until there's one little change, and then things just take off. And this is why in this book, Ready, Fire, Aim, which I highly recommend you read, is very, very good. When you make product iterations and you're iterating on your current product that's selling, only change one thing, right? One step. 2 steps is too far. 3 steps is way too far, which is why we just change the color, or you just change the look a little bit, or you add one feature, right? This is why the iPhone adds a couple features each year, but they don't add all the ideas they have, because then they wouldn't have the iPhone 17 and 18 and 19 and 20, and then they'd make less money, right? And on top of that, when you take 2 or 3 steps, you don't know if it's going to work because you're going too far away from the core concept of what you know works currently. And like my example here, I literally pretty much just changed the color and sales took off, right? It's a little change, but it made it look and feel new. So in e-com specifically, what you want to do, let me scroll down here again, is only change one thing. That's it. One step. Now realize that when you do this, not every time it's going to work. You'll lose money developing products, but it's part of the process. This is called business. Develop on the product, keep testing, take one step at a time. Well, how do you know what one step to take? Ask your customers. They will tell you. Ask your customers for feedback, call them, survey them. They'll literally tell you what they want in the product, and do that. One step at a time. The only thing I will be very clear on is when it comes to e-commerce specifically, you need to make sure it is visual. You want the change that you make to show in the ads. It doesn't have to be anything crazy. Once again, like a color, or like the dog bed example, it could be a different size, or it could have a different design or a different shape, but make sure it's visual, because the way it looks and feels new, if it looks and feels new is great, but if you can't market that, then it's useless, right? So you make the visual change, and then you make sure you get new content. And the easiest thing you do is you remake past winners with new content. So you literally take every winning ad you've ever had, word for word, plug in your new content with a new improved product, and you launch it. That's it, okay? So if you're dropshipping or you have a brand, but you're struggling to scale, or get consistent results and consistent profits, and you don't want to go up and down, but instead, have what it looks like here, then what you need to do is, 1, put a proper system in place for consistent testing, high quality testing, not just testing random fucking garbage. And if you don't know how to, if you don't know stages of awareness, different angle testing, or any creative strategy, go pay for a course or something and learn that. It's very, very important. You need to learn that to get good consistent testing. And that will help you scale massively. If you're under $1 million a year, that's all you need. Even if you're under like 3 million a year, that's really all you need. You probably just need to increase your testing even further, right? Then if your sales drop off massively, or you have this step one in place, everything I just talked about, step one, if you have that all in place and you're still struggling to really scale, then iterate on your product. Once again, the best companies always innovate. You have to innovate or you will die, and that's a never ending thing, which is why the biggest brands not only have multiple SKUs, multiple products, but two, consistently launch new products. That's why they have full teams around product development, right? So hopefully that helps. It should help. I hope it was. Once again, excuse me for my sniffling nose and my throat and for looking like I'm in a dungeon, but it should help. If you're interested to learn more, there's a link below. If not, that's cool too. Use this and scale your business. So see you in the next one.